money case to delay his sentencing until after the election. Right now, it's scheduled for September 18th. CNN's chief legal affairs correspondent Paula Reed joins us now. Paula.
Dana, this is another attempt by the Trump team to try to delay Trump's sentencing up in New York. Now, in this letter sent to the judge today, obtained by CNN, they're making two key arguments. The first is they are arguing that this sentencing could have an impact on the 2024 presidential race. They're also arguing that they're still appealing how that historic Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity could apply to this conviction. Now, when it comes to that first argument about the election, they're trying to frame this case, this sentencing, as they have with all four of his criminal cases, as election interference. In this letter, they point to statements that the Democratic ticket has made about this case and the fact that this sentencing, right in the middle of September, will take place around the same time that early voting starts in some states. They say, quote, setting aside naked election interference objectives, there is no valid countervailing reason for the court to keep the current sentencing date on the calendar. There is no basis for continuing to rush. Now, Dana, there are legitimate, untested questions about just how close to a presidential election you can do things in a criminal case related to a presidential candidate. And I said those are untested because, look, we've just never been here before. But his team is also continuing to appeal this question of how the Supreme Court's ruling could impact this conviction. They argue that the Supreme Court ruling means that certain pieces of evidence that were introduced during this trial need to be thrown out. Anything that could be an official act, like, for example, they argue his conversations with Hope Hicks or things that he tweeted. Now, Dana, most legal experts do not believe they're going to be successful on that argument. But here, Todd Blanche, he says the judge in this case is going to decide if the Supreme Court case applies to this case on the 16th and then sentence Trump on the 18th. They believe that is not enough time to adequately exercise the former president's rights to appeal. So we'll see what the judge does here, Dana. A lot of really interesting legal questions being raised in this letter.
Okay, thank you so much, Paula. Appreciate that reporting. And Donald Trump scheduled another news conference for later today at his golf club in Bed.
Former President Donald Trump is seeking a delay in his sentencing for a criminal case involving hush money payments until after the 2024 presidential election. Trump's legal team argues that the current sentencing date of September 18th, just weeks before Election Day, could interfere with the electoral process and harm the integrity of the proceedings. The case revolves around Trump's conviction on 34 counts of falsifying business records related to payments made to adult film actress Stormy Daniels during the 2016 presidential campaign. These payments were allegedly intended to prevent potentially damaging stories from affecting his electoral prospects. Trump's legal team contends that the payments were for legitimate legal services, and they plan to appeal the conviction, though this cannot occur until after sentencing. Trump's attorneys have requested the delay to allow time to explore appellate options following an anticipated ruling by Judge Juan Merchan on September 16th. This ruling will address the defense's motion to overturn the verdict based on a recent U.S. Supreme Court decision regarding presidential immunity. Trump's lawyers argue that the brief period between the immunity ruling and the scheduled sentencing does not provide adequate time for the former president to assess and pursue state and federal appellate options. The request to delay the sentencing has been met with skepticism, as Judge Merchan has already postponed the sentencing once to consider the immunity ruling. Trump's legal team has also raised concerns about potential conflicts of interest involving Judge Merchan, though these claims have been previously dismissed. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office, led by Democrat Alvin Bragg, prosecuted the case, and Trump has consistently claimed that the charges are politically motivated. As of now, Judge Merchan has not made a decision on the request to delay the sentencing.